Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Thank you for joining me for today's episode. So, not a huge video plan for today, and that's why I kind of feel like today's video is a nice little throw-in to go along with some of our more popular videos. I've been doing a lot of discussion videos recently, and this is something that I think is a very important topic for me, and I kind of want to get your guys' opinion on the matter and see what you guys think. So there's a couple of things that really stood out, and it's the reason for making today's video. I had a viewer kind of reach out to me and provide contact information, and so of course, I responded and sent my info to him so he could reach out to me anytime. And I've always said, guys, if you ever want to chat about life, collections, hobbies, you see something in the room that you're interested in, or hell, if you're looking at my eBay or Mercari accounts and you want to inquire about one of the items I have listed for sale, whatever the case might be, just general conversation or anything else, reach out to me. I'd love to hear from you guys. And so I went on my computer, and I have my email set up on my computer the same way I do work email. So it's got your name, your phone numbers, email addresses, and I kind of threw some random stuff in there like my LinkedIn and eBay account, YouTube channel, contact info, what have you. So, and I was looking at it, and there's a part after my name where it says PhD candidate. You guys have absolutely no idea how important it is to me to have those two letters, that D and that R, in front of my name. And I was so freaking close to completing my doctorate degree. In fact, if I didn't stop going to school, even if I had just taken one class at a time, I would have graduated a few months ago. So 2024 would have been a big year for me. I really should go ahead and update that email account because there's about a 99.1% chance I'm never going back to college. Can't say 99.9% because as close as I am to graduating with that doctorate, I think I have a better chance of going back now than I did once upon a time. But getting that doctorate degree meant the world to me. And the only reason I stopped is because my VA benefits ran out. And I said to myself, you know what? I absolutely refuse to pay for college out of pocket. That's why I want to work for companies that have tuition reimbursement. The VA was awesome because I used my Chapter 33 post 9/11 GI Bill. So I actually got paid while going to school. So they paid for my school, and I got paid $800 or $900 a month while I was attending school. So for 3 years plus, that was so awesome. And because of the massive amount of classes I was taking, I wasn't doing 1 or 2 classes at a time. Sometimes I had 3 courses at a time. I had as many as 6 courses at one time for some of my classes. So I was really tearing it up over those years. So I shot through my bachelor's degree and actually had leftovers to complete an entire master's. I'm like, damn. And I'm like, damn, I still got some time left. Let me keep going. Let me go for the doctorate. And I knocked out a bunch of doctorate level courses. I was close. And like I said, even at one course at a time, I would have graduated like 3 months ago, I think. I think I was scheduled to graduate. Well, so kind of looking at that email, and that in conjunction with this meme I found online the other day, and I kind of found it to be very humorous. I'm not going to attach the picture in this video. I'm not going to do any editing, so I'm just going to basically read off what it says. So in the meme, it says, boomers, people just don't want to work anymore. And yes, I agree because yes, that's exactly how boomers thought process is that even Generation X people, so it's not just Z or whatever the heck So millennials, I think, is 1981 to 2000. I think something like that. It's kind of weird. I know when I was a kid, when I was growing up, I was always known as Generation X. And then all of a sudden, everything changes, and I'm all of a sudden a millennial. Like, how the hell did that happen? So I really don't know how they break down by years. Generation Z, Generation X, or Generation Y, Generation X, baby boomers, etc. So each era, each birth year. I think millennials, again, I think that's based on 1981 to like 2000 or something, or 1981 to like 1995 or something. I don't know. It doesn't really affect me. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shoot about that. So, but a lot of times you see, I can understand that thought process, because people don't want to work because they feel like they're not getting paid for their worth. And baby boomers were just happy to have a job and earn income. It was a long and strenuous day on the job, day in and day out, 40 hours a week, every week for years, decades, and they made it happen. So when they see the younger crowd, yeah, absolutely, they're ticked off and insulted by lack of fortitude to get the job done, considering that their pay is light years higher than what people in the 50s, 60s, 70s were making, etc. But I also see it from the other standpoint. I look at it as before I even got any degrees, as a high school graduate with no college degrees, I felt like the job opportunities were far greater for me. And I wasn't just getting entry-level jobs. I mean, yes, having that military experience definitely helped, because I was able to get all these higher echelon jobs, especially working as an overseas contractor. But I was getting a lot better paying jobs, severely better paying jobs. I mean, yes, overseas contracting, so yeah, you're going to earn 1,000,000 times more than you earn stateside. But later on, when I got my bachelor's, a year later, I'm graduating with my master's. I'm roughly halfway through the doctorate degree, and I can't even, I'm thinking if I were to apply right now to a grocery store, any grocery store on the planet, as an overnight stalker, as an overnight stalker, it still sounds like I'm saying stalker. You guys know what I'm saying. I don't think I could get hired for that. Yeah, the argument is, well, this is an entry-level position. These are usually jobs for like high school kids and kids who are 18, 19, 20 years old trying to work part-time while they're in college, etc. This isn't for seasoned professionals who've been working 20 plus years, etc. Got it. This isn't for someone who has higher level education. Got it. But at the same time, the degrees have done absolutely nothing for me. I would be a horrible person to go into a school and tell kids that continue their education as much as they can, because it's going to do wonders for them in the future. In reality, that's absolute BS. You're going to get more opportunities without a degree than you do with. And I think, like anything in life, it's about who you know in life and not what you know about in life. And everybody knows that aspect. You only need to have a job for 5 minutes to realize that. So, I guess the question I'm asking is, anyone else out there kind of experiencing that same type of issue, where the more educated you become, the less opportunities are presented to you? Yes, I've been saying for the last couple years I've been retired. Now it's kind of forced retirement due to injuries, but if I'm a military logistician. Now you think, okay, supply, I can get a job with anything because everything is supply. It doesn't have to be military related. It can be commercial, any commercial business, civilian company. So, but within people will look at your injury history, and injury history is very recent. As I said, I had that thing in Iraq where basically I fell back and basically destroyed my shoulder. And they hear that you got this major fracture in your body, they're not going to want to take a chance on you. Why? Because a lot of logistics has to do with physically moving things that weigh a lot. Yeah, you got forklifts and other heavy duty equipment, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to physically be moving heavy equipment yourself or heavy products and stuff. Well, people can argue, well, you can always get a phone job, sit at a desk, sell insurance or something. I did that with Humano when I got back from my first deployment, or my first Afghan job. I was in Afghanistan for 3.5 years with Mantech. I came home, and one thing I could get hired at was working as an overnight stalker. And then later on, I kind of moved on, and I spent 1.5 years working as an insurance. We didn't really sell because the customers were already members of Humana. We were just basically advising them of benefits that they had, which was mail delivery pharmacy, which is better because they get 3 months. So it was that kind of deal. And most of the time it was like zero cost to the members. So, but I don't want to go back to making $9 an hour, $12 an hour. This little meme right here, proficient or experienced, preferred qualifications, master's degree, minimum salary $15.29 per hour. At $15.29, when I worked for my last real stateside job, I was a salaried employee, and based on a 40-hour work week compared to what I was taking home, I would balance that out to more than $34 an hour. So almost $35 an hour as someone who had nothing more than a high school diploma. And now I've got a master's degree. Because the doctor isn't complete, I'll say I have a master's, and you're telling me I'm going to be taking $20 less than what I had been earning. So at this point, yeah, like I look at the boomers, I see their argument, but then I look at the newer generations and I see their argument as well. You don't want to kill yourself to be making less than you're worth. There was one of my videos I posted very recently. It was a bunch of jokes. What did I have in there? Then there was a Chris Rock special episode that was like 5 minutes in there. There were a bunch of like other TikTok clips and funny jokes and memes and stuff in there. And one guy, he made a point. You shouldn't have to be killing yourself, working 40, 50, 60 hours a week for the bare minimum and be satisfied with that. In a nutshell, that's basically how he broke it down. I mean, nothing funny about that. It is 100% accurate. So, that should not be normal. You should not be earning 3 times more than the average peer and be struggling in life. So when I look at this meme, master's degree, making $15 an hour, just a few years ago, I don't know if I was in Afghanistan or Iraq or where I was, but there was talk about McDonald's employees getting their minimum wage improved to $15 an hour. I don't care where you are in the world, what job you have. The reality is, anyone that says that minimum wage back when it was like $6 an hour, $7, $8 an hour, that is not a livable. If you're a 16-year-old sophomore or high school junior or whatever, and you're making $8 an hour working at a Walgreens or a grocery store, I don't care if you're a teenager living under your parents' roof with no bills of your own. Come on, $8 an hour. that is a slap in the face. Now imagine being a fully grown adult with responsibilities of your own. A mortgage or paying rent on an apartment, food, having to take care of utilities and everything, and expecting to live off of that. So yeah, you're in the service industry. You got to put up with consumers' attitudes and basically be spat in the face every day. Maybe not literally, but you are going to be putting up with some attitudes. So getting that raise is necessary. But at the same time, what happens to the consumers? The employees get a pay raise, but now you go to McDonald's, for example, employees go from $7.50 an hour to $15 an hour. You go get yourself a Big Mac meal that costs $5, and now that same meal costs you $12. Well, if 3,000 sales were made a week at that restaurant for a number one, and now it went up 2.5 times the price, guess what? It's now dropped 12 times, and you're only making 250 sales on that item. Yeah. I'm trying to calculate the stuff in my head, so and I'm gotta make sure I'm giving the right numbers. And what does that do to the employees? It cuts their hours. If you're an employee working average 18 to 24 hours a week, maybe you're cut to like 8 to 12 hours a week now. So suddenly that increase of $7.50 an hour doesn't really do much for you, because you're basically going back to making the exact same amount of money you were before. Yeah, you're making the same money, but you're doing half the time. So that could give you the opportunity to have that free time to go get a second job. But I've had jobs where I've worked multiple jobs. I could never imagine going back to that. That was horrendous. It's like, how do you go from working in Afghanistan for 3.5 years, and you come home and you're working 2 damn jobs? And there were a couple time periods where I went like 48 hours straight without sleeping. Another time I went like 60 hours straight without sleeping, because I was bouncing from the overnight stalker to my Humana job. It was insane. So I kind of looked at, and it's just something so simple. Looking at your, I guess it's the salutations, and then the name, phone number, contact info. Just looking at your signature block in an email. That, coupled with a Facebook meme, gets you thinking, and now we've got a video like this. How frustrating has that got to be? College is what? $10,000 a year. If you go to a good fancy one, you're looking at $30,000 to $40,000 a year. But let's say low end. Let's say you don't care about what college you go to. You just want a college degree. So let's say $10,000 a year. $40,000. You go for a master's, maybe another couple years to knock that out. You're looking at probably $60,000. And the jobs that are offering you $15 an hour, that's what, $600 a week, $2,400 a month. Well, let's say $2,400 for 4 weeks, because there's still extra days at the end. So, and after taxes and medical insurance and dental insurance, and if you put money into a 401k, of that $2,400, you might take home $1,500. Who the heck can live on $1,500 a month? So right now, yeah, I'm happy because I'm at a point where my military retirement is taking care of my household expenses. And I'm trying to bring in more money for myself by buying and selling and creating these eBay and Mercari accounts is able to keep up my ability to continue building on my hobby, which is my wrestling collections and other collections. Do I ever have any intention on going back into the workforce? It's I would be in such better shape if I could get a logical job. If it was with Raytheon, I mean, I wasn't breaking the bank. My net pay with them was like $3,600 every 4 weeks, and and that was based on $5,500 every 4 weeks, and I was getting $3,600 out of that. So $1,900. I was losing $1,900 a month just from taxes and insurance and stuff like that. So it just goes to show you, not even the most money in the world can make the difference. You really gotta be mega superstar, athlete, singer, musician, actor, something like that, in order to actually have a pretty comfortable life. But I mean, I'm doing more than okay for myself right now. I'm doing all right, so I'm not. My wife and I, we're not struggling or anything. If we go out and buy something, we're not sitting there counting our pennies or anything like that. So I'm at a good point in my life financially. But if I ever have to get back to a point where, and I see this for other people, I don't want people to be struggling. I mean, it would be nice if everyone could be rich and not have to struggle. That's just not how the world works. But yeah, that irked me when I saw that meme, and it's not a joke. It's serious. That is exactly how it is. Because even though I am comfortable in my retirement, and I'm not interested in really getting back into the workforce, yes, I do occasionally get onto certain companies that I want to work for, such as Lockheed Martin or Raytheon, as a couple examples, and I'll see if there are any new job updates here in Louisville. And see what they have available. And when you look at, and companies, they don't always put and that kills me. I hate that. They don't always put what you're going to earn in the job requisitions, and if they do, 18 to 23 an hour, or 15.25 to 18.23, or some random number like that. I'm like, you see the job title, and it's like, okay, it's the exact same job title you had before, so you generally know exactly what is going to be required of you. You know what you're going to be doing, and that isn't $18 an hour worth of money right there. That is a slap in the face. Ugh. And yeah, you're going to have someone that's going to come on here and, hey man, I'm working this job making $9 an hour and I live comfortably. I've had that. I don't say live comfortably. When I left Afghanistan back in 2014, all the companies were doing downsizing because apparently back in 2014, Afghanistan was closing down. The military was handing control back over to the Afghan army, Afghan government, and that just never happened. Obviously, that didn't happen until what, 2020, 2021, something like that. So all these companies were laying off all their employees, and then they just had to rehire all these people all back. And not everybody ended up coming back, or if they did come back, they came back with other companies. So in 2014, yeah, I lost my job with Mantech after 3.5 years with the company. And I'm not tooting my own horn, but come on, there was not a better employee with Mantech than myself. And I've seen the work of other employees that work for Mantech, and I've seen what I did by myself, and no one could even compare. I'm sorry. And I saw how much they struggled after I left my site. So to me, it still hurts to this day that I lost my job. Like, you couldn't have found someone worse to lay off. Especially the guy that kind of sat in the office all day watching YouTube. Didn't do his job, didn't know anything about his job. The only thing he ever did was hand out lanyards. That's a story for another time. And when I came home, because I'd already paid off my house there in Texas, making $9 an hour, eventually I had to give up that grocery store job. I couldn't handle 2 jobs at once. That was just, my body was destroyed. And kind of working with just Humana Teleperformance, working on the campaign for Humana Pharmacy, making $9 an hour. Again, I did that for a year and a half before I finally got hired by Lockheed Martin to go back to Afghanistan. And I think my only saving grace on that was the fact that my house was paid off, and the money I made from Humana was enough to cover household expenses and, food and stuff like that. But there wasn't like anything major left over. I couldn't build up any kind of savings or anything from that. So yeah, you can live on a lower wage, but your car breaks down, you got huge medical bills, you're screwed. And I kind of backtrack to what I was talking about with the McDonald's example. Yeah, cities like Seattle might go and increase the pay wage, the minimum pay gap, so that employees aren't making $7-8 an hour. They're making $15 an hour as minimum wage. But that also increases the cost of living. That increases prices of food and possibly gas and clothing and things like that. So now all of a sudden, yeah, you're paying your employees more, but they still gotta buy the food. They still gotta buy the clothing. They're making more money, but it's like if you're buying a T-shirt for $10 and you're making $10 an hour, compared to if you're making $15 an hour and you're now buying that same shirt for $15 an hour, not really much of a difference. How much time are we at here? Almost 30 minutes. I never expect these videos to go as long as I do when I think them up, but I start talking and then I just I like spending time down here, kind of discussing these things. And as a fan, once I post these videos, when I sit down and watch them, obviously I'd rather sit down and kind of watch a 20 or 30 minute episode than a 10-minute episode that's going to just shoot right by and then be done. And then I got to wait until the next day for another video. I guess I could post more videos in a day, but like I said before, I don't have the subscriber list or the view count that would warrant me posting more than one video in a day. So with this type of topic, man, there's just so much information, so much stuff you could talk about. You really could come down here and just go on and on about random stuff for a couple hours, but I'm not going to do that to you guys. Hopefully this is sufficient. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I mean, is any of you guys out there? Because I'm pretty sure a multitude of you guys have bachelor's degrees, masters. Someone out there has to have a doctorate and freaking have a PhD, probably sitting back with a job making $20 an hour. I'm like, no, I don't like that at all. To me, I kind of feel like it's like military, right? If you're a sergeant major in the military and you're making $30,000 a year, and then here's this guy, a private first class in the military, and he's making $25,000 a year, is that fair? No, it's not, right? So you think, okay, this is a sergeant major, this man's got 20 years of military service, and he's making $60,000, $65,000. Okay, that sounds about right. This guy, he's a private first class, he's got less than 2 years in the Army, less than 2 years service time. He's making around $18,000 a year, $20,000 a year. Seems about right. So yeah, I am going to kind of look at it like that. When you kind of look at value, you're looking at a person's personal experience for the job that they're applying to. You're also looking at education level. But even when I always talk to my boss back at Rakedown, I said, look, education is important. It should not be the be-all, end-all. Because Rakedown, they were like always obsessed with their degrees. It doesn't matter if someone was was a valuable commodity in the position they were being hired for. If they had absolutely no experience whatsoever, it didn't matter. As long as they had a college degree, they were golden. I'm like, look, if a college degree should not be a primary factor. It should be a final factor. If you got 2 applicants that are vying for one final spot, and they're 100% identical across the board, then you bring up education and use that as a final determining factor. So yeah, if I look at this guy as a bachelor's degree, and he's got a position, and he's making 40 grand a year, and then you got this guy over here working the same thing, same job with a PhD, I would kind of expect him to be making more money, even if he's got the same job title, just because of education. Sometimes when you are applying to positions, you do have the ability to sit there and negotiate contracts and whatnot. Sometimes when the recruiter sends you a contract, hey, this is the hourly wage, take it or leave it type of deal. There's no wiggle room. Other times you can negotiate. And not often, especially with overseas contracting, which is what I'm most familiar with over the past decade and a half, but it is possible. So you won't always see people with the same job title having the same pay. Usually you will, 99% of the time, but not always. But that's it for that, guys. I am going to definitely end the video here. No more follow-ups to this. But let me know what you guys think, and I will talk to you in the comments and see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.